I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. They all know what my name is. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. They all know what my name is.
Hi, it's Angie Welsh and welcome to the world of surfing, a surfer's paradise. In this episode, we'll be flashing back to the dawn of surfing. We hear the many opinions on how surfing first started and explore the evolution of board design.
The art of riding waves has been around since the earliest of Polynesian history. Today, surfing has become a truly popular sport and lifestyle that millions participate in on a regular basis. The equipment and the progression of the sport is moving at a rapid rate.
I guess surfing originates with somebody going in the water probably after a fish or something, and
I don't know where surfing originated from. You know, you hear it originated here in Hawaii, but then you go to Peru and they say it came from down there. Or did it come from Australia too? I don't know where it came from.
Surfing originated here in Hawaii with the ancient Hawaiians riding those huge wooden planks.
Those big wooden cold wood planks, you know, then they'd steer with their foot, you know.
People surfing and they didn't even know they were surfing, you know, riding wood planks and just body surfing. Like, there's so much different kind of surfing.
the Peruvians claim it originated there, Hawaiians claim it originated there. I don't know.
What I know about it is that the Incas started surfing with these palm boards, and they use them for fishing. And then when they come in, they used to paddle some boards and just standing up and going all the way through the waves. And in the ruins, they have these drawings of waves and fishes and sunsets. They were really surfers.
It's written in stone. It was started in Hawaiians. The Hawaiians were the first ones to surf. I mean, it's pretty obvious what they had in front of them. I mean, they had to go out and try. When you see over and over just these beautiful things, like even today, you're just mesmerized when you look at the ocean.
The Hawaiians would do it for fun. It was like their playtime, you know, it was like their recreation, whereas like the Peruvians, they wouldn't just grab their little rafts and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ride a couple waves, you know, and like play in the ocean. It was more as a tool, it seemed like, to go out and you know, gather, catch food or whatever and bring it in. And in the process, they rode a wave.
From what I heard, and you know, it makes a lot of sense, surfing originated from Hawaii. And it was an ancient sport for the ali'i, which are the kings, and only they could do it.
To surf was royalty, you know, like one of the kings and the elites, you know, those are the people who are allowed to surf.
The royalty would sit on these heiaus. It was like their viewing place. So it's pretty crazy to think that surfing dates back that far.
Where did surfing originate from? I think it originated from the Hawaiians. I know it originated from the Hawaiians because they've told me.
I think surfing originated in Hawaii with the Duke.
The Duke, he went around, he showed the world it, he came to Oz, and you know, it was such a cool thing, and I'm so glad that the whole world knows about it.
For me, it's not really important. It's the fact that I surf. Who cares where it started? I think that as long as you surf and you're having a good time, it doesn't really matter.
After the break, we'll be finding out what it was like in the early days of professional surfing. Vertical fins, stubby shorts and adventure were a big part of the pioneering professional surfer's life during the 60s and 70s. Surfers today owe a lot to these driven and progressive men and women for starting what has now become a big part of our everyday life.
If you wanted to be a surf star in that era, you had to have a double act. You had to have a phenomenal act in the water, and you also had to have an act out of the water that said, hey, stand up and pay attention to me. Surfing wasn't at a stage where there was a lot of money to be earned. So if you wanted to make a living out of it, you had to be an all-round performer.
You know, they had this image and they had this dream, and I mean, look at it now and look at where it's going to go.
I guess it was just a time where competitive surfing started the world tour, and you know, it wasn't easy for them, but there's some characters come out of it for sure.
I think Rip Curl Pro started in '73. Core introduced that. Of course, MP won the first three of those, and competition surfing started really becoming a lot more important because there was money involved, and then the crowds started coming in the mid-70s, and the foreigners really hit Bells Beach through 65, 6 and 7, and then the stubbies on the Gold Coast in 77, you saw that with all the huge crowds, so it was just a change in attitude, I guess.
The stubbies is just the classic. It's where, you know, modern pro surfing was born. And I find it quite funny, ironic even, that the guy who invented the man-on-man concept is actually a woman now. Calls himself Westerly Windina.
The landmark thing that really, I think, will always see the stubbies in a special place in surfing history is the man-on-man format. And you've got to remember that Peter Druin, who started it, also had points for effective cheating and ineffective cheating. He wanted people to run into each other on waves, and that's a long forgotten thing about the 77 stubbies.
They only had one opponent there that was truly dog eat dog, and not too many rules applied.
Slipping and sliding across the face of the water. Rainbows underneath the sun as you climb into another day. From the bottom to the top in the heat of the colored rain. In the shadow of a barrel of gold, and you do it all again. Into the wild, into the wild, blue yonder. I'm gonna ride on a winter's day. Climbing and falling left your trail on the wall. The time you're in is the time you're in, there can be no alibi. Yeah, you rock and roll till you take control under the big blue sky. Locked inside the perfect dream, the ocean is your home. Into the wild, blue yonder. I'm gonna ride on a winter's day.
There's heaps of chicks in bikinis, and surfing was, you know, starting to become popular. I wanted to see Michael Peterson because, you know, he lived in Kira, and thought it'd be good to go and watch him.
It was sort of like the first time we ever saw surf groupies. There was this chick called Margaret Dupre who had this little G-string, and she was down there tarting around, and all those surfers were staying in those big high-rises just on the point, and there was a turntable of girls going in and out, just being hammered by the pros. I could not believe it. It was sort of like rock stars. I'd never seen that before, and it just came out of nowhere.
First ever man-on-man contest, and this MR and Michael Peterson in the final of all time.
it was a really exciting final. You know, it was just wave for wave. Michael was, of course, the favourite, but MR, such a liked guy, he's the nicest bloke in the world, that there was a lot of support for him as well. But it was just exciting. The format, no one had ever seen it before.
MR was still not the MR that he became. He was really a young kid. The twin fin even hadn't come along yet. He was on a Ben Iper Stinger. And so when it got to the final, I mean, as MR tells you, he said, nobody gave me a chance. He said, I walked down the point with thousands of people and they go, you haven't got a chance. And of course, MP, he dominated that final. I mean, he was at, as I like to say, he was at the height of his powers right then. Because after that, he was never the same. I mean, that was it. I mean, that day was the day that he pretty much was the signature of, I've been the greatest surfer of this, decade.
I like how everybody treats Peterson, because he is one of the guys that put a professional Australian surfing on the map. The young guys can see that and they respect that. That's important for surfing.
Up next, we hear from the legendary Simon Anderson, the inventor of the thruster surfboard. Surfboard design is an important part of the progression of surfing. Thousands of boards are being shaped and tested by surfers worldwide every day.
For me, it was right place, right time. But looking back on it, I feel like, like we were grooming the young guys for future success as pro surfers. I had my training at Narrabeen, which at the time was a really hot area of surfer shaper. I learned off guys that were world class, and for me to go on and come up with a thruster eventually, I had pretty good training there at the ground level. At the time, the tour was expanding, going to more and more places around the world, primarily small wave locations, like Japan and England, Europe, mainland USA. So we were competing. We turn up on Tuesday, the finals were at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Of course, MR was doing really good and he was riding a twin fin and everyone was kind of going to a twin fin. Sean Thompson, Richo Dankialoa, all these guys had gone from single fins to twin fins because you just had to do that. And when you were riding your twin fin and you tried to go back to your single fin, it just felt really stiff and slow. So I was trying to come up with something that could get me from the twin fin, which I could surf in 1 to 2 foot surf, but 3 to 4 foot surf I'd spin it out because I'm big or whatever, or didn't have the dexterity or the ability. So I had this problem area of 3 to 4 foot surf. Once I got to 5 foot, the single fin was pretty good. I was happy again. Another surfer shaper from Narrabeen came out of the water at around about that time where I'm kind of tearing my hair out going, I've got this real big problem area. And he had a twin fin with a little fin at the back of his board. And what he'd actually done was he'd made a twin fin, put a big single fin at the back, and then started sanding the back fin down until he got a board that was not too stiff. I said to him, right, Frank, what's that do with this configuration he had? And he said, it helps make the board a bit more stable. And that was the big problem for me. The twin fin was just way too unstable. And I thought about it for a little while, came up with a few variations in size and placement, and And that was it.
You know, Simon's thruster's still just hanging in there, and everyone on the CT I think is riding a thruster still and a normal board bar Kelly. So, and they're the best surfers in the world. You know, those top guys of the tour, and I guess if there was a better board out there, they'd probably be riding it, but I guess they're not.
We've had thrusters for 25 years. There has to be a change. It's not going to be a bombshell change like Simon, though. I mean, that's never going to happen again.
So pack your bags, we're on the road again. When I get home, I can't tell you.
When all you want to do is surf and experiment with equipment, there is nothing better than an Indonesian surf trip to the Mentawai Island chain. These waves are perfect for trying out new board and fin designs, and with a crew like this, there is bound to be some world-class surfing.
Every single person in the lineup of every surf destination that you go to is riding a thruster.
They say I don't act my age, I say so what? I live free, I live for me, knowing that the way things are the way they will be. As long as the sun shines, we gon' have a good time. Life's too short to worry about others. I know I gotta grow up one day, but today's another day, so until that day, let's go play, let's go play, let's go play. I know I gotta grow up one day, but today's another day, so until that.
After the break, the crew scores some more perfect waves. Welcome back. Let's check out more of the action from Greenbush.
Let's go play, let's go play, let's go play. I make music not for the money, but for the love, but to make money off my music.
Simon had a lot of fin selection. He bought a lot of fins to try out this trip. He shaped a couple of boards that were sort of twin fin with a center stabilizer, which is pretty cool to look at and watch. And he did have a good quote that with a little bit of fin adjustment, he changed an average board into a good board. So it just shows that someone with that much knowledge really knows what they're talking about and can change average boards into good boards.
I know I gotta go one day, but today's another day, so until that day, let's go play, let's go play, let's go play.
With surfer-shaper relationships, I think it's really important to have that bond, because you're consistently working with them, and if you're not getting on with your shaper or the shaper's not getting on with the surfer, it's never going to kind of work, I don't think. And like, obviously Darren and Steph, they've been working together for years, you know, I don't know, over 10 years. I wouldn't have a clue how long they've been working together now.
I know I gotta go one day, but today's another day, so until that day, let's go play, let's go play, let's go play.
As far as designing surfboards, you know, as you said before, inch by inch, millimetre by millimetre, we'll just keep on refining to what the top pros are riding, and myself and Simon as designers, we'll design boards for ourselves and for our friends, and then we'll get on a winning formula, and we'll take that into the market and sell it off to the people, because that's what we do, that's our job.
Simon's surfing really blew me away. I mean, I know he surfs really well. He's a bigger guy, and I think of everyone on the trip, when we first pulled up on the first day, he pulled out 4 brand new boards. He tried like 4 different types of fins, and he'd surfed them all on the first day.
What a great adventure with so many perfect waves. Join us next time when we'll be on the road to the world title with the best surfers on the planet. Well, if you want more action from this week's episode, then head on to our website, asurfersparadise.tv, where you can download some clips to watch anytime, anywhere. I'm Angie Welsh. Keep living the dream.